evidence of it.
Well, I will take my own justice if you will not
Did I take his sword?
try. You can try. It'll be the last thing you ever
Right.
do.
The Lord has asked for your sword.
For the waste of this court's time, I think we'll just have to find Edmund. He's got no evidence. What do you think, Alan?
My name is Vincent Bowyer. I'm a founder and creator for Bastille since 2012. I've been here 13 years. I do Bastille, that event, bring a lot of happiness for the community. 2024 is a special one because Sunday is the 14th of July. That's a big date on the celebration of the Fête de la Bastille. And we got some performers, very interesting, like Baron Black, French Cancan, LODCB, historic medieval reenactments from Reading. I hope everybody will be enjoy that day and going to move forward for 200 years.
Hello, my name is James, or as I go by when I'm on encampment here, Anselm. So I am representing a member of the clergy, part of the Norman priesthood. Now in the Middle Ages, in the 12th century, the faith and the Catholic Church was paramount importance. And every encampment, every settlement that was worth its salt would have its own form of chapel. And they would have people such as me, a humble acolyte, a parochial vicar or a priest tending to that chapel. Because while it might be the domain of the knights to protect them from harm, from dangers, from enemies, the priest's job was to defend their soul, to look after their virtue and ensure that they went to heaven after they died. Given that the medieval times could be bloody and brutal and life could be short and swift, the fate of your eternal soul was always an utter and critical consideration. My duties would intend not only baptisms, but weddings, confessions, healing of the sick. In fact, the one person in the village who might be able to read, write, or count pretty well would be a priest. I might teach young lords and ladies, or I might be in charge of blessing warriors and knights on their way to battle. The duties of the priest were manifold, but each of them were incredibly important to medieval society.
I'm Owen Snellgrove. I'm here representing Historia Normannis at Reading today. I've got my cloth merchants display brought from my group in Southampton, along with another few members of mine. We'll be doing combat, we'll be doing crafts, and we'll be here all day. So this is a fabric merchant sort of setup from Southampton. So Southampton was known for its cloth selling and trading at the time. So we got all sorts of different fabrics here, dyed with plants, some more patterned fabric from different areas, linens, wools. Over there we got the food selection for today, some wine that has been traded locally, along with other sort of bits and pieces that I might need as a trader, from scales to my trusty coin purse.
Which we rarely see.
Hello, my name is Talia Ingle and I am here as part of Historia Normannis for the Reading Bastille Day. Do this. So for my portrayal, I portray a 12th century merchant's daughter from London who also works as my lady's maid and her attendant, and I am her cosmetologist. So through my father's connections, through the merchant business, I'm able to go and acquire all sorts of ingredients and recipes from Europe and also even the north of Africa, and then kind of put together cutting edge skincare and hair care and beauty treatments for my lady in order for her to go through life feeling as fresh as she wants to. And of course it helps me as well. Okay, so we have down here a range of various products that would be used. So from our lip tints, here and here, they are slightly melting. We have a Castile soap and a body moisturizer bar that would be used after removing all of the hair to make yourself clean. We have here a hair dye We have a shampoo made from nettles and vinegar, and a conditioner made from Christ thorns and burnt Greek vine. And then also the tools of some of our trade. Again, if you can't go and wash your hair with a shower head, you'd use something like this and pour your hair mixture and your water over your head to wash it. So all sorts of fantastic things we're finding out with our authentic research.
I am Hélène, I'm an apprentice cook, and this is Guillaume. He is currently chopping garlic that we will be putting in the pottage, which is what we would eat in the 12th century. Pottage basically means anything that is cooked in a pot, and today we are doing, this is chopped celeriac. We've also got barley that's being soaked and simmered, and we'll be adding red wine, and some herbs and some spices to it to make it taste really nice. And then we'll be cooking some lamb separately. And this is to feed sort of most of the Sussex and West Mercia, the encampment around us. So this over here, this is our firebox, and we've got the cauldron over the top. This is where the pearl barley is being cooked for the pottage. Typically, they wouldn't have used fireboxes. They would have just dug a pit in the ground and put a tripod over it. But obviously, as we're currently in a public park, we can't do that. We have to use the firebox.
Good morning, I'm Amelia, and today I'm here in Reading with Historia Normannis. So I am Mildred, I am a cook for my Lord's Manor, and this is Osbert and Godwin, who are both helpers in the kitchen. So today we are cooking food for the peasants that have come along with us. We'll be making a stew using carrots, kale and spring onions. We'll also be cooking some lamb. We've also got a selection of some seasonal fruits. We've got strawberries, raspberries and blueberries, and of course bread and cheese, which they ate a lot of.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and my impression is Lady Agatha. I am a herbalist. I have a range of cosmetology and herbs that I give to nobles, and this is my apprentice Henry.
Hello.
So let me tell you a bit about what we have here. You might see some weird equipment. We have a crucible which is used for heating up wax elements, beeswax, and things like frankincense, lavender, and you would use that, heat it up, meld it together to make like a balm. So this is a balm from daisy and frankincense. Daisy would be used to heal cuts and grazes, and the frankincense is also it's an antibacterial and a purifier as well, so really good for that. What else have we got here? This is a bit unusual. This is a whisk. Mix something up and stir it. My apprentice is busy. We also have some very expensive herbs here and spices. So we have orange, which would have come from the Mediterranean. It's dried because it would have been imported and taken quite a lot to get here. We have cinnamon, very expensive, another antibacterial, very good for you. We also have nutmeg and mace, which is part of the nutmeg. So those two go together, and you might not recognise it, but we have long pepper. So long pepper is used to spice foods. Foods were herbed and spiced for their different properties. So if you were ill-humoured, feeling a bit ill, under the weather, had a cold, you might have some long pepper, which would be heat to combat the cold humours. In the same way that you might have a hot curry now if you're feeling a bit sinusy to help fix. Lots of things that we've learned here are translatable into modern day. We have hibiscus, which would have come from North Africa and been imported. So again, another very expensive herb. That would be for women's health, for hormone regulation. They were actually quite knowledgeable about women's health, in some ways maybe even more so today. We have some quartz here. Quartz is used in skincare, ground up, almost like an exfoliant, and again you'll find that in skincare today. And that's pretty much it. It's quite a small impression. It would have been compact, travelled up, and I would be going around to different nobility, different places, and selling my wares, taking orders, and generally selling things that way. And a woman of independent means.
So hi, I'm Josh. I'm well, they call it, for my Norman name I'm John, which is since Josh isn't very Norman, and I'm a woodworker. So I'm going to be today. I'm here in Reading, hopefully making a small stool like the kind of one that a milkmaid would use down on the floor here to milk the cows. So we've got this top piece here. I'm going to be putting some big holes in with this tool that I've got here for boring holes, which is a big spoon bit that I'd use. And then hopefully we're going to make some legs. We've got some spare bits of wood here, some ash, some cherry, and some other pieces of wood that I've acquired, and we're going to make some legs for this using the Shire Court here. I'm going to explain how this works as well. This is a nice one to do. So we put this in here. I'll just grab a piece of wood, slide that in there. So we use this tool. This is called a draw knife. Sit on the bench, set it like this, and then we pull it towards us, and I can use that to make the end of this round. So hopefully the plan is, once I've made the hole with this, I should be able to make this match that hole and turn it into some legs for the stool. That's the plan for today anyway, and I'm going to do one of those tomorrow, and then I've got a handle to put on an axe as well, depending on how much time I have. So we'll see what happens. So I said about this one, this is instead of a drill, this is what you'd be using to make holes with. This is a big version. I've got some smaller ones. You've seen the draw knife, that's used for shaping bits of wood on the shape horse here. We also have, look at this, look, this is a adze. This would be used for shaping wood. So this one is one I could drop onto here, and I can hit it like that and hollow out the piece of wood to make a space for someone to sit on. Being very careful with my feet as well, because it's quite sharp, so the last thing you want to do is cut yourself. And what else have we got? Because the metal was very expensive, we have some saws here. These are frame saws, so they would make the blade and then make this frame, and it's tensioned up here, and that keeps it nice and tight, so you don't need to use as much metal because the metal was very expensive. There's a little small version there as well. So yeah, that's most of what I've got with me today. I've got some other bits and pieces in the tool chest, but I probably won't be using them today. I think, yeah, that's everything. That's John. That's John the Carpenter.
Good hello people of Reading, my name is Charles, although my authentic name for what we're doing here today is Thurston de Montfort of Kent. And what I have here to you today is my sister Matilda, who's just finished the scribing lesson. She is one of the rare people, one of the higher up lords, or people in the sort of the upper echelon society who is able to read and write. This is something that is more reserved for the upper classes as well as people of the church. And what we can see here is that they are using quills and ink. So this is a time for the likes of pens. This will be the equivalent that thereof. And there's a writing board here as well. And
spilled ink on it, sorry.
Sorry?
Just spilled ink on it.
The fact that there's ink on it shows that it's very well worn, and I think that's. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, sister?
No, if you remember whatever you'd like to talk about.
Yes, that's all a bit about that. I can talk a bit about what I'm wearing, perhaps, if that was to. So what I've got here is the garb of a squire, so someone of squire, so of the lower noble ranks. What, as you would see in some of the highest, they've got more embroidered stuff, whereas I have mantling on my tunic, bright colours. This is something that shows I have a little bit more wealth to spend on such things. However, I also have, being in a household, I have a noble patron, and thus they give me a bit more money, so I am able to afford things that perhaps someone of a similar position that is not in the noble echelon might not be able to afford as well. I would, and then wax tablets here. Like my sister, I also am able to read and write to an extent. This is just to give me sort of a memo. This is also can be reused. If I take a flame to the wax tablet, it is able to completely scrub it. I also have on me on my belt. It's got some lovely bits of metalwork on it, as you can see. It's got a few birds on that one, and this is something, again, I have a bit more money to work with too, since this is a time before common banks and that sort of thing. Most nobles and lords would choose to wear their wealth. This would go to the extent of having gilding certain items like sword hilts, maybe even some of their armour as well, and even helmets.
Affecting your depth perception. I think it's about blur overall, but if I can see more
I'm Matilda. I'm part of Historia Normannis. I do the scribing on encampment, which was rare for females to do. Normally that would be a male-orientated job. Women would only do it if they were married to a lord and running his household. One of the things that I really like doing on encampment and getting kids involved in is making ink. So we have what we call oak gall or iron gall ink, and that's made with simply 4 ingredients, which is crushed oak galls, water, so rainwater, iron sulfate and gum arabica, and you mix them together in equal parts and it makes ink, which I have got covered on my hands and my desk here. Yeah.
Hooliganism and drunkenness.
I hope so, sir. The next case we have here is simple one, 2 lords in a land dispute. One local.
Which lords?
They are elite.
Hello, my name is William the Bowyer. I make bows as a profession. I would be making bows for hunters. I would be making bows for castle protection, some soldiers. This is a bow that is currently in progress. I've taken this down from a full branch until it is mostly straight. Traditionally, they would be made out of ash and yew, and in Wales they'd be made out of elm as well. Always a good hardwood, as long as it's nice and springy. We started to run out of those in our period, and we started importing the wood from Italy. Through the process, it can take a weekend if I was dedicated from sun up till sundown, but this one in particular has taken me a couple of weeks. This would be a hunting bow. They'd be around 40 to 60 pounds of force, good enough to take down any small prey, any deer, the likes. Once you get to war bows, they get to above your height, maybe 2 meters pushing it, and those would deliver upwards of 120 pounds of force, with a low end at around 80 pounds. That is the bow that people would have been practicing with every weekend. It's the bows that would have been refiguring how people's skeletons looked, the ones that would deform them, so a historian could look at the skeleton and go, that was an archer. I've got my tools down here. They're a bit of a mess right now, unfortunately. Ugh. So you go with files, pad saws, axes, And if my draw knife's around here, it is not. There. You'll see it around. I've got a draw knife as well. The whole process is you use your draw knife, which is similar to one of these. A long blade that you pull towards your body. Take that to strip the bark off to get the general shape out. You might use your pad saw and your axe to get halfway down and eliminate most of the scrap in your wood. Then it's back to the draw knife, back to the spoke shave, which is this one, and get the general shape out. Occasionally you'll fall upon little knots in the wood where branches have come out of the main body, and you would use your file to whittle away at them. Then as you get further and further, you might use a card scraper, which is just a bit of tool steel with a tiny burr on it, less than a millimetre, and you would use that to just scrape away little bits of wood. If you see any of this dust around me, that's all been from the card scraper.
I think you should make them work the fields and make one of them work double to repay the wife of the woman who's run the field. You speak very reasonably, my lord. Right, did you all hear my friend, Lord Anton?
Hi, I'm Hal the Hunter. This is John the Woodsman. And today we're here with our hunting display. We have our spread here. We have stoat, which everything here we hunted in period. So we have our stoat, 2 of these today, a mink, pieces of stoat that we've been putting together. We've got our rabbit, 3 of those here today, a fallow deer, of which this is its antlers, a fox skull, because they are pests, we need to take care of those. And the back here, if you follow me, is our boar that we hunted just last week, and we've been tanning for use for our lord's castle. We've also got here today tools of the trade. So we have snares, which we set up with these loops. Could you grab me a test piece? Reginald here will be our test mink. These are driven into the ground, and as the animal approaches, is caught within, and is captured. This doesn't kill them, so we have to check our snares every day, morning and night, to see if we've caught an animal. Otherwise, some other animal may come and take our catch. And what we do, like a fox, absolutely. And what we do is we come along with our clubs, and as it's trying to get away, we clobber it, and we take the fur for our lord. Now these furs that we've got here today are only used by our nobles. We, as peasants, are only allowed to use wool from sheep and linen, which comes from flax. Our nobles would be able to use rabbit, deer, mink, ermine, stoat on their clothing. They could line their cuffs, line their collars, line their cloaks, and what that would do for them is provide them warmth in the winter whilst us peasants are suffering in the cold. What else do we have here? So other tools of the trade. So these are our hunting heads. We have some general purpose ones and some very specialized ones. This is our general purpose leaf head. These would be on most of your arrows, like these. And these can bring down most medium-sized animals, thinking smaller deer, rabbit, even some of these creatures, foxes. Pest control is a big thing for these. But what these do not do for us is bring down the larger animals like the fallow deer, the red deer, and the boar. And they wouldn't be very useful for hunting birds because it would puncture the animal and ruin the organs, which would destroy the meat. And so what we have is a selection of specialised arrowheads which allow us to hunt those animals. So firstly, this is for hunting deer. For this, we can hunt fallow deer, red deer, like this here, and can even be used to hunt boar. Now what this does is it enters the animal, it comes in, and then gets trapped inside the flesh, and as the animal is trying to get away, it cuts away at the inside and is barbed, so it can't come out. Now that increases the bleeding of the animal, and as it keeps bleeding out, our bloodhounds can chase after the animal, and when it bleeds out, find where it falls. And then when we get to it, we use our knives to finish it off. Now that's a deer. What we have here are chisel tips. They're much broader and heavier than our general purpose leaf head. And these can break bone and have a heavier punch to bring down something like a smaller boar or a smaller deer. What we also have here are two types of arrowhead for birds. This one's a crescent head. This would be used to break wings, as well as you can hit them in the neck, hit them in the torso, hit them in the head. And what this doesn't do is penetrate. So it kills them, but does not rupture the inner organs. This one's very similar. It will not rupture inner organs and will knock down the animals from the trees. But also these are very useful for preserving the furs on rabbit, stoat and mink and ermine, things like that. Now what this is used for is for bludgeoning, knocking down the animal and preserving the fur so we can take them away and sell them. Other than that, I think we're...
Arrowheads of war.
Oh, that would be... There's another display for that. I think that's it.
Your shoulders. Sleeves through. James, spare your hands.
Ah, thank you.
Got it. Holding. There we go, cool.
And when you tell about this costume, I can show how he dressed.
Head up, arms, there's one.
Nope, off the head. There you go. Head hold.
Any going? No, you look good. Well, hey,
Lovely. Lovely.
and that is him in.
Right, do you need sleeve things?
I do. Any more sleeves pulled? You do?
I'm Edmund, and this is
Bailey.
and we're talking to you today about Norman arms and armour. Mostly armour. As you can see, we have a full hauberk here with us, which means it covers all the way from the fingers all the way down to the lower thigh, and then you would then put armour over your legs as well, but this is effectively as much protection as you get. You have a coif to cover your head, and then it goes all the way, so it goes from the top of your head, tips of your fingers, all the way down to your mid-thighs. Now, of course, there's one bit of good information here, is that this is effectively a hope and a prayer. A man who doesn't have a helmet on is a man who would not be considered to be armed in period, and there's a very, very good reason for that. Because if he's only got this on, that's going to be the end of him. So a knight could be walking around wearing all of this, sword at his belt, all the rest. If he's not wearing a helmet, that's he wouldn't be considered to be dressed for battle, because anyone with a sword could then go woodumph. So this man is wearing his helmet and is doing that. He's much more lightly armed. He's wearing a mail corselet. He's got his gambeson underneath, which is the padded armour. It's nowhere near as good as a good suit of mail, and we call it mail, not chain mail, because to the French that would be called chain. We call this mail, It's much lighter, it's much cheaper. It's also butted, so it's not got the rivets here, like this armour does here, to hold it together. And that means that it won't. This armour here will hold some much heavier blows than the one there, but it will also be heavier as well and more difficult to make. And that's a brief overview of Norman armour.
So my authentic name is Edwin. My real name is Edward. I depict a medieval peasant, sort of low class. So I mean, most of this was made. I made most of the kit myself. So apart from the shoes.
Bring forth the men of the cloth! Oh my god. Is that why?
On your knees!
What is going on? Bring them in front of the court.
Forward!
In front of the court. Is it why? It is why. Why? Why are you done? You can't stand. God, let the... Pick them back up, pick them back up. When did this drunkenness start? Have you always been a drunk priest?
That's attention was trial by combat.
Three judges.
Very, very rarely done, so to speak. It is something that would be of the most rare occasions where...
Am I mistaken here, or are they dividing themselves up?
I believe they asked some migrant groups and we found themselves. A couple of them are locals, this group are locals. What town was it you said you were from?
Winchester! We've got Winchester here, Reading here.
That's correct, sir. Come on!
Bailiff, please tell me that the next case left me for dead in France. I spent 3 years rotting in a dungeon because he didn't run from me. When I come home, my house is a mill. Edward, I hear you're upset. So you are acting on a completely good faith.
Oh, absolutely.
Edward, do you even have evidence that it is your house?
He was holding them in good faith, I thought. I can't
Indeed for that land in my life.
Blackguard!
God, separate them!
Get away from me! Sorry.
I will have justice here, or I will have it on the field, but I will have justice!
Quiet, Edmund! Signing up for trial by combat. There you go, my lord. In this space, please, where all can witness.
Aye, sir.
And God above, will decide the victor. Allez!
It's for him on! The first! Good day! No, not yet! Come on, Tanker! Come on! I think it's quite it's a bit of a warm day. They really have been.
Wood! Back over there! Back over there!
Don't kill him, you fool! Well done, good.
Tancred! Tancred, are you still fit to fight?
One more. Are you sure? Aye, my lord. I've got to pay him back.
Because apparently, you couldn't understand. I want it here, where people can see, not there, where people can touch.
I've checked, my champion has won.
That one is still standing, Edmund.
Won't be for
But
long.
he hasn't yielded. Allez!
Come on then.
Come on, Tancred! Come on, Tancred!
One day!
Seems just decided!
Where's my What? Edmund de Bruce, my lord.
Yes. Yes, I did agree.
Congratulations, Edmund. You may have your mill back.
And I hope that you are prepared to provide the grain that granary feeds the local village. What is this? Where's the
My lord, hold a second. Edmund Fitzbermont, your mill is returned to you. The land attached to the mill is returned to you.
I want
and
all
you're
my
now
land back and you knew
resume
it.
paying the taxes from the proceeds of that mill. Is that not what you wanted?
No, I own so much farmland round here. That's why
You
I
only
was
came to see about the mill.
I'm taking
Question Lord Battery and the King's Justice. Behemoth.
I probably should have written a list if only I could write.
I think we have settled the matter here, Edmund. You may go about your day. Away with you. Judge, find him. I want 3 silver pennies for each spit.
Aren't we all so pleased he didn't die in France?
And you ended up with things that were like bags.
Sussex and to Bruce! To Bruce! Take anyone off rock! Anyone off nothing! He's still alive! The Bruce! You breathe yet? Well, you did that! If you're the suddenly fire your injury! That's what the history shall record! No! Come here. Fix the roof and ready!